and I knew that I had to go through these things. So talking about it and hopefully helping other people through this phase, or there needs to be evil so it knows what good is. It was kind of a violent threat behind it if I don't do it. I was 13 or so, and I had to. What's up? This is Jesse Jax on Jesse's Higher Level Show. Today, on this episode, let's talk about trauma. Let's talk about good versus evil, masculine versus feminine energies. Let's jump right into it. Let's go.
It's Jazz. First day of the year, 1991. Yeah, the African dragon was born. I came a long way, been through it all. But let me take it back once more. There's a lot that you didn't know, that I didn't even know myself. There's a lot that I gotta show, so we can grow.
So, I wanted to talk about trauma because I keep attracting people in my life that experience some kind of trauma and some kind of struggling experience, or hard hardships in their life. And when I think about how come I keep attracting people that had so much trauma in their life, or so much things going on in their life, in their childhood or whatever, it totally makes sense because I experienced some of those things as well. And a lot of those people experienced sexual abuse. They experienced getting bullied at school, getting um, a tough growing up in a tough neighborhood, growing up in a tough household, growing up with certain harsh and hard surroundings, and experiencing those things in a in an age where you are so where it's so crucial for your development to have a healthy environment. And when I think back, I it makes sense. And because I experienced some of those things, I keep attracting those things, and it's reflecting. The universe keeps throwing you things so you learn, so you can grow, you can heal. And when I talk with certain people, they tell me a lot, because I kind of experienced, or when I talk about these, when I talk with these people, at some point I really want to get somebody on here and to talk with, so we can have a honest conversation and share it with you. And so you might also learn from it. I think that vulnerability is an important step for your authentic expression, especially when you are a creator, and you want to put out your true self in your work, right? And this is important because vulnerability is the voice, the language that separates us from the competition, and we want to stand out of the crowd, right? But anyway, talking about sexual abuse, I can understand why some people have a hard time to deal with those memories. I had a situation, and I totally forgot about this for maybe more than 10 years. And my brain was trying to keep me safe, or um, putting this memory away and locking it. And when I was journaling, or more than journaling, writing a lot of stuff down as I like to do, um, at some point I wanted to write down a lot of my childhood experiences, and suddenly this memory came up. And I remember it was those days when I'm not gonna get into deep detail with you right now in this episode. Maybe when we talk with somebody else, have a guest here, and then we talk about it. I was forced to show myself, and it was kind of a violent threat behind it if I don't do it. And I was 13 or so, and I had to show myself naked. And yeah, basically forced by a classmate. So that he was older than me, and I remember that I completely forgot about this memory for years. Yeah, so I kind of relate to a certain person that had some issues with some kind of abuse, but of course, this is not the the hardest level that it can go, because I've I've talked to some people recently about what they have experienced, and there's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of evil shit going on, and we're gonna talk about what is evil, what is good later. But people that tend to be experiencing violence in their life in their childhood, um, they don't know how to deal with this, and then they do it to somebody else. I hear about this over and over again. We just had this Netflix show with the Menendez, right? And there you see that it's this time where people collectively seek healing and go through certain conversations collectively, so we can level up, right? And more of these stories are coming out, and more it's accepted to talk about it. More and more people talk about therapy, and it's so important. And I can totally encourage, if you're listening to this right now and you are kind of on the fence of doing so or not, do it. Do it. And there's a lot of different therapy out there, and you might want to check out what is best for you. But to keep going with this conversation, this topic, we kind of forget that some people have been through rough stages in their life. And for me, it's also, I've been bullied like for years in school, and that kind of shaped me as well. And that was a hard lesson. And when I was going through this, I was counting the years when I finally get out of this school, but it was kind of not clear. Let me go back from the beginning. My I grew up in a household with an African mentality. There was violence. There was my sister screaming. There was daddy being violent. There was a dad not being around. There was yeah, these kind of things. And not getting approval, not getting love from one side of the parent is always something that is influencing you in a deep way. And you kind of look for it on when you grow older, right? I realized that I was looking a lot of that, some kind of habits that I have, always trying to be the best, always trying to be as good as they can be, always trying to be a top performing person, whatever I do. And this urge of perfection deep in me, although I know that there's no such thing as perfection, this urge that's like basically these things brought up my people pleasing side, and trying to approve, trying to look for approval, trying to get love and those things. And it's not easy. We have to be aware that these things are happening inside of us, so we can heal, and so we can grow from this, or heal from this, and work through this. And being bullied at school because I was that shy kid, because all of these things happening in my at home, I was had so much insecurities in those young ages. Then we moved away to a different city. Everything, it was a different part of Germany back then. It was like black and white contrast. People were talking different. They had a total different mentality. We were much colder and much more distant, and had a hard time to find friends. And then dealing with these things at home, and then trying to like find friends. You're trying to be in different cliques and groups, and yeah, and then when you start to hang out with certain people that are not always the best kind of people that you need in your life, let's say it like this. And then this person is abusing you. It's something that you have to digest. And then in class, yeah, I don't know how to talk about it because a lot of shit happened. A lot of shit happened when you are going through all these things. You are the only black kid in school or in this class. I think we were only two or three black kids in school and the total school. And every time they talk about things from Africa, people look at you, everybody's turning around to you, and people laugh, and people do this and this, and people bully you, and all these different kind of ways. I am not trying to be I'm not trying to get in a victim position. I knew that what my issue was, and I knew that I had to go through these things to in order to become the person I am now. And now also talking about it and hopefully helping other people through this phase or through certain traumas and in some kind of way. And I know that my issue was that I didn't have this father figure that I could look up to. I didn't know what it's like to be a man. What is it? What does it mean to be a man? And who am I even? I was growing up with only women, and as a having this as my surrounding also influenced me later on questioning sexual orientation. However, I don't think that this is necessarily a direct result of your environment, because I think that there's also an a question of your soul development. And then again, there are no real you are a energy being, and these energy beings are not necessarily only masculine or only feminine, because I think that these let's talk about this in a second. And I think that it's important that we all go within ourselves to really know ourselves, because we can't know our potential. We can't know our true power, the power of the universe, God's power, if we don't know ourselves. And I recently also see that on podcasts they talk about it, on different all the kinds of different platforms now people talk about these things. And so you should also never forget to look within yourself. Maybe it's the time to do this damn thing. And And since you're a creator, or maybe you are black and a creator, or maybe you just an outsider that wants to fit in, and you now you're doing all these things and just to fit in and whatever. Stop. Just get to know yourself, your weaknesses, your traumas. Work through them. Do the shadow work. Do the meditations. Do the journaling, like I did with bringing up these memories, so you can truly know yourself and you can level up. And that's what we do in the higher level university, in the community. Hop in. I can just tell you, it's always great to have a like-minded environment, and people that want to grow without any judgment, without any phobia of whatever. I'm an outsider, and always wanted to fit in, but then I just realized it's time to just be me, and to stop wearing a mask, to stop people pleasing, to stop trying to be somebody else. Just, it's time to be me. That's what truly makes separates my art from other people. That separates. I think like I like me, not like somebody else. People always try to fit me in a box with my sexual orientation. People trying to fit me in a box with my music style, but there is no box. It's just we are more or less attracted to this, more or less influenced by this music, more or less we like this music. So for me, I always try to bring everything together, and I always try to bring all the music styles together. And in school, I ended up having a friend that was really strong or whatever, because we were talking about what is masculinity, what is it like to be a man. That's when I realized I saw suddenly I'm growing, and people around me are also struggling with some things. And there was this one person, this Russian person. He was always the strong type of guy. He never took shit from anybody. And yeah, I'm ready for a fight, and I was his friend. So people started to also respect me. And since I've always been this guy in the middle that tries to solve every fight. I was never the person that tries to start a fight or whatever. I was the person that was solving the things. Oh man. And now this friend of mine was going in a fight, and bloody nose and everything, and wow, and I was there trying to, watch out for if it gets too serious to dissolve the fight and whatever. And then at some point it was that case. And from that day on, people looked at me differently. People looked at me, they had respect also. And I just had to do this, and it was done. No, anyway, we have to go through certain things. And we have to deal with them. If it happens to us, we can only find ways how we react and how we deal with it, and try to forgive, not forget, but forgive, because you don't want to hold that thing with you. It's not much about the other person, it's about you. You don't want to hold that grudge within you and carry that baggage. You need to clear this thing in order to have space in your quantum field to attract into your life, the good thing that you want to have in your life. You cannot do that when you're carrying the baggage of the old shit with you all the time. That's why it's so important to go through the trauma. It's so important to forgive the people, not for the people, but for yourself. And lastly, I was also wanted to talk about more about these things with masculinity, femininity, because I feel like, or evil, good, there is no real evil and good. It's all part of the one. There needs to be evil to so the universe experiences itself, right? There needs to be evil so it knows what good is. we need to we sometimes we need to have this harmony to know what is harmony. So it's both things are part of one. There is just one universe, one mind. That's the first law of the Hermetic principles, the first law of the universe. All is one, and this is all just part of one dynamic, dance, dynamic harmony, the good and the evil, the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine energy. It's all part of the one that is a togetherness, experiencing each other, challenging each other, so it knows what it is, and masculinity